K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
Good evening, everyone. Tuesday night, whatever the hell, May 20, 2015. This is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk for Game On. Everybody, right now, get over to K98Talk.com. Say hello to the pretty Stacey in the chat room. Welcome everybody back from a long, long Memorial Day weekend. We'd like to welcome back Ricky Tikki Tavi, Rick Robinson, baby, and Grouchy, host of the Conservative Curmudgeon. You can catch his show here on K98 Talk Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where am I welcoming him back from? The Southern Republican Leadership Conference, where he scored a fantastic interview with Rep. John Bolton. And get over to Spreaker or SoundCloud right now and check it out. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, JD. And let's not send him over there right now. Can we send him over there after the show?
Yeah, no, listen to us now. Yeah. And why does everybody want to listen to us tonight? Tonight we're going to be talking... It's back. That's right, Obamacare. I mean, yeah, okay. We got a little
gift that keeps giving.
Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley, as well as our jerk-offs, are going to make 2016 circus a lot of fun. So we have to do a bit on that and a little bit of the Iranian show trial of Jason. I hope I'm saying it right. Reznian. Everybody go over to that Spreaker.com right now, that K98 Talk, hashtag K98 Talk. Check out Stacey and I hysterical interview with Evan Sayet from this past Sunday. Upcoming guests, Judith Miller, Mary Catherine Ham, and Guy Benson. Whoa.
Yes, we are going to bring you Judith Miller, we promise.
Who?
Judith Miller.
I know. I was thinking
Judith
that.
Miller.
I'm like, there is some point where we're going to have to stop teasing her.
Yeah, I know. We will.
They're going to say,
hey,
it's gonna be a dump or get off the pot moment.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, but before we get into the topics of the night, everybody, this is what happened to the Obama administration and the DOJ fighting the amnesty injunction.
Oh, yeah, they lost. Yay!
What does that mean? Before we go into our major topic, this is the part of the show where I start to stutter because I haven't done my drugs yet. I do the drugs after the first commercial break.
Yeah. Okay.
With everything that the man has destroyed in this country and the Constitution shredding going on, what we're specifically speaking about is that there was a judge who had put an injunction on Obubu's, what is he calling it now? Asinine deportation. What is his word? DACA, DAPA?
DACA, I think it is now. No.
Right. The de facto amnesty. So there was an injunction against it. The DOJ fought it. It went to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Not the most conservative bunch of folks out there. But it was heard by a 3-judge panel. Look, if you take a look at appeals and things of that nature, for a 3-judge panel to uphold an injunction, that pretty much is painting the picture for the DOJ that most likely not so much is going to happen. But I think I could be wrong about this. Any of the lawyers out there, correct us. I think they have the opportunity. I think the administration can appeal and actually have it heard by the whole circuit instead of the 3-judge panel. But that's where we are.
I think that might be a foolish move at this point, number one. And number two, none of the rulings rule his executive order unconstitutional at this point. It's just really under review still, and the review that's going on with the lawsuit that's been put forth by several states. But I mean, they're really working around that with the whole refugee program anyway, so the injunction hasn't done us a ton of good.
The Fugees haven't had a good song since the 90s. What are you talking about?
Oh, wow.
I just had a flashback to
memories.
A dingy college bar somewhere.
Yeah. It was a long Memorial Day weekend, wasn't it, JD?
One time, two times. Oh my God! Next the Thursday night show, 9 p.m. We're gonna come up with Fuji nicknames for everybody in the
in the chat room. Okay, good. I love it.
Say hello to everybody in the chat room for us. Would you do like the romper room? I see Donna.
No. We're not doing romper room this evening. So,
all right. What are we doing? This is what we're doing. We're doing. That's right, folks. That's not just a sound effect. You're all gonna die.
Well, apparently Obamacare is on a little bit of life support.
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because this goes back to the executive the executive order with amnesty and everything else. What we're going to speak here about Obamacare and the way the Republicans can play it. And some of this actually makes me think for the first time. Some of the idiots might be able to actually politic. But, it really doesn't matter because, I was listening to Judge Andrew Napolitano, who's a libertarian leading judge, and he had a really great point. And I've been making a point about this for a while. There really is only one remedy built into the Constitution for an extra constitutional president and constitutional overreach, and that's impeachment. And if they haven't done it by now because they're scared, they're never going to do it in an election cycle. So all of this is academic because I think that this guy's just going to keep his foot on the gas all the way through.
I have no doubt he's going to keep his foot on the gas all the way through. But the two biggest things that have come up in the last several days about Obamacare is, first, JD, the Democrats finally figured out that health care is too expensive for people. So once they get done paying these exorbitant premiums, they don't have the money to go to the doctor.
Please stop telling me what these idiots didn't figure out. They knew this from the jump, okay? We're talking, listen, if we're going to have this conversation, let's be honest about it, all right? This goes back to the weaponization of what they were trying to do. Universal health care started with these morons about 100 years ago, okay? That was their wish. This goes back to the Tom Harkin quote about this being a modest starter home. And you wouldn't be able to build what you wanted to build without this starter home of this Trojan horse of nonsense that's in here right now. But they knew damn well what the cost of this were going to be, because you want to know what? When they started down this road, it was to achieve something they wanted to have for the last 100 years. Because all of the Gallup polling, the left is so big on polling, 87% of people who had health care in this country, health insurance, were damn happy with it. So why don't you tell everybody the new crisis these idiots have manufactured and what they plan to do about it?
Well, they want more money.
No.
So the new crisis is, there's a couple things. A bunch of insurers have previewed premiums for next year. Some of them in some states, I believe New Mexico being one of them, going up as much as 51% on the exchanges. 51%. I mean, that's insane. And they're blaming it on all of the mandates within the programs, which we all knew were going to cost more money. So if you take a look at that, and now you've got Democratic leaders in both the House and the Senate saying, oh my goodness, which we talked about back at the beginning of the year when they were touting all the wonderful outcomes from this program, we said, more people are insured, but insurance isn't the same as healthcare. Nobody's using it because the premiums are too expensive. So a big CYA article in the AP this week talking about the Democrats have identified a new problem. This isn't a new problem. It's been going on since the exchanges started. Okay, the problem is the premiums are so much, by the time you get to the co-insurance to go to the doctor on some of the lower level plans, people can't afford the health care it's supposed to provide. So now this is the next problem the Democrats want to fix. How do you fix it? More money.
Well, listen, that's their fix to everything. But, Byron York, who I think was one of the first people we recommended here on the program, makes a great point, and I think it's the Examiner. And very simply, when he's speaking about deductibles, great, how did the deductibles go up? The answer is simple. Obamacare. Okay, listen to this. Obamacare's upward pressure on deductibles started in the law's first year. By the fall of 2010, and everybody who paid attention knew this, by the fall of 2010, 6 months after President signed the bill into law, Obamacare dictated that insurers could no longer impose lifetime caps on payments, could not deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, and had to insure adults up to the age of 26 on their parents' policies. So when everybody who had 4 functioning brain cells and didn't need to be an economics professor went, well, wait a minute. If you make companies do that, won't everything be more expensive? And the left went, racist, sexist, I don't know, old people, dead babies, all right? Here's straight line numbers. In 2003 and 2005, the Commonwealth Fund, what's the Commonwealth Fund? A pro-Obamacare group. In 03 and 05, the Commonwealth Fund found that 3% of adults were in that category, the one where you were saying where you're seeing rises and it's in the deductibles and they're paying X, something like 26% of their income on the deductibles. The 3 to 5% of adults were in that category in 2010. The figure doubled to 6% in 2012, and it rose to 8% in 2014, and it's heading into 11 to 12%. They knew this. But you know what else they knew? They knew that by doing this in a budget reconciliation, whatever they did, it was what we just said. They know the Republicans are scared of their own shadow. They know that they're afraid of impeachment. So you know what they're basically telling our idiots? I dare you. I dare you. I dare you, I dare you, I dare you. It was done with the Cornhusker kickback, the Louisiana Purchase, every other dirty deal you can think of, reconciliation, yada, yada, and they're telling our idiots, I dare you.
Well, I mean, we talked to Jay Cost about this at length, and the whole process around the implementation and passage of Obamacare was what led him to write the book, A Republic No More, saying that really we're a special interest democracy at this point. The insurers built this thing, and it's broken. It was supposed to be to their benefit, not to the benefit of patients.
They didn't. Go ahead. They got Jay kicking and screaming into this damn thing that they're worse thieves than the government.
Oh, they're totally worse thieves than the government. But, now we're getting to the point where it's reaching critical mass. This law is not sustainable long term. If you looked at the CBO calculations based on earlier projections, this shoots us into such deficit spending. It's not funny. And now we have to spend more money on it? Are you kidding me?
No, it's that our idiots are going to get log-rolled into politics into spending more money on it because you want to know what? It's going to be about the children. It's going to be about the children. What about
children are not insured by Obamacare. They're insured by CHIP.
It doesn't matter. They say gay marriage is about the children. Everything's about the children. Read the damn papers. But
I don't read the papers just for that reason. It makes no sense.
But that's the whole point. It doesn't have to make sense. A narrative has to take hold. Look. There was an article in Politico, but you know what? Do you know what kind of week I'm having and it's almost Tuesday? I swear
You're
to
reading
God.
Politico?
No. Well, no, we have to do show prep. We read everything. But no, I was going to say there was a great article in Politico today by Health Care. No, that was actually the heading and the topic. The article is actually by Jennifer Abercorn and Rachel Blade. Is it 11 o'clock yet? And up front in the piece, they actually made a point that I am torn on. And it makes me think that maybe our guys know how to politic because there are things to go back and forth and really throw up in your mouth about and other things to say, should we play a long game like the Dems do? Basically, this has to do with the proposal by Senator Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin. So the teaser in it says, Senate GOP prepared to replace Obamacare subsidies, right? So what do we say? Okay, they're afraid to hear about the children. So if you're replacing them and you're calling them tax credits, what does it matter? If it's all coming out of the same pool, what does it matter? However, Johnson has a very interesting plan. He would restore subsidy. The bill would restore subsidies for current Obamacare enrollees through September of 2017, which made me break the first device I was reading it on. So about 10 minutes later, after I booted up the laptop to finish reading it, Even though it restores subsidies to 2017, the administration would have to agree to the repeal of Obamacare's individual and employer mandates and insurance coverage requirements. Oh, good God. Did somebody learn how to log roll over the Memorial Day weekend?
Well, I mean, the point is this is the signature legislation. Obama's going to veto anything that looks like that.
But now go to the politics of it. Go to the politics of it. You want to know why? Let Obubu veto whatever he wants. He is now putting the Democratic Party in the position to tell people, your subsidies are going bye-bye because I don't like the changes they're making to my baby, which none of you understand anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
I still think he would win the politic on that, because you got to take a look at what then effectively happens in 2017. The program has been dismantled. Once you take those subsidies away, there is no more Obamacare.
Until the idiots in Washington decide we're going to print money. I'd rather see the mandates go away and have it fall apart. I don't trust funding. Let me tell you something. I don't trust getting rid of a government program by defunding it if we had a Republican president, a veto-proof majority in the Senate, and a supermajority in the House. I don't. But I just don't. I think these guys are idiots. I mean, even going into this, all right, so here's the other catch-22 of this article. That's not a half-bad idea by Ron Johnson. You want to know what? There are 5,963 other plans between the House and Senate they're all trying to get behind.
Oh,
you can't
but
have
of course.
You can't get two congressmen in a room to agree on a pizza topping.
No, but when you take a look at it, right, what is the incentive for them to dismantle anything?
Who? Already?
Okay. Well, when you take a look at it, the Democrats, remember, they passed the law. You know, Nancy Pelosi famously said, we have to pass the law to find out what's in it. Well, now we've taken a good hard look at it, and we know all of these people are not eligible for subsidies. And Gruber told us why. He told us why. It was intentionally put into the bill so that states would develop their own exchanges. He was on video recorded having said that.
They don't.
That didn't happen, and now it's a Republican problem. Excuse me?
Listen, you go to the you go to the great Nancy Pelosi quote. Have you ever heard her husband's very famous quote?
No, do I want to?
I can't believe I wake up to this every morning. Good God, give me cancer now. But, I mean, all right, so here's another happy flip side, and this is where you start going into the House, where, look, I don't mind the muckraking in the House, so long as it can be controlled. I don't think Boehner's the guy. For those of you who agree with me, go to gohconservative.com and go give Louis Gohmert PAC some money, please, so we can get rid of these morons. But here, this goes deeper in the political piece. Several House Republicans insist that a ruling against the subsidy, this is basically the King versus Burwell. Is it Burwell-King or King v. Burwell? It's the case that's before the Supremes right now regarding the subsidies and the language of the law. That a ruling against the subsidies would force a new debate on the entire health care reform law. Look, I don't know how there's a debate.
I don't remember if there was a debate.
No, it wasn't. Many House Republicans are focused on replacement plans, plans plural is where we're getting into trouble, that would issue tax credits instead of Obamacare's tax subsidies to help consumers' insurance. You got Paul Ryan's got one out of Ways and Means. John Klein, Republican in Minnesota's got one. One of the guys in your neck of the woods is I don't know if Tom Price is your guy or not. He's a Republican out of Georgia. They all have similar principles, but there was a really good point. This was Rep. John Fleming of Louisiana brought this up. Louisiana, oh man, just as a sidebar, anybody who hasn't seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou go say, oh Lord, yes, came and sang into yonder can. Anyway, Rep. John Fleming of Louisiana, we do get into a little trouble on the messaging because people say, what is the difference between that and what we're already doing? Whether you continue subsidies or you use tax credits, they're all tax credit programs one way or another. You got 30 seconds, lady, tie it up.
Well, I guess I don't see a fundamental difference in the messaging. Tax credits, it's the earned income credit. How many arguments do we get into over that? It's, again, the redistribution of income any way you look at it and reliance on healthy people to subsidize the sick. And that's what the mandates buy you.
Bayou, like Louisiana Bayou, but all right. You want to know what? Obamacare is something we're going to keep coming back to. Here with JD and Stacey on Game On K98 Talk. Get over to K98Talk.com right now. Get in the chat room. Say hi to Stacey, and we'll see you in 3.5 minutes.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
We're gonna spread happiness. We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em.
So let me be clear. You didn't build that.
Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, or the Bunny as many of you know me by, your friendly neighborhood bad girl of conservatism. Here to talk to you about my show. I'll talk about conservative issues, my top 10 douchebags of the week, and have some pretty badass conservative guests on the show. All that, plus me, your resident bunny with a chainsaw.
Wednesday nights will never be the same. It's Unapologetically Bunny. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
Welcome back to Game On here with JD and Stacey on K98 Talk. Get yourself over to that K98Talk.com right now. Get in that chat room. Talk to Stacey. How's the mayhem over there?
Or is it quiet discourse like the other night when everybody got upset with me?
They did ask if you were on mushrooms earlier, but I told them no.
So you lied. What did I do in the first segment that got a mushroom comment?
I'm not exactly sure, but it must have been something.
Well, welcome back here to Game On with JD and Stacey here on K98Talk.com. K98 Talk, our new home where you can find us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. You can find us again Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. And Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for that Bloody Marys and broadsheets, baby. Your cure for your mainstream media hangover. As always, get over to Spreaker.com. Download the app on your phone or your tablet. Go to K98 Talk. Check out the catalog of great shows. Everything JD and Stacey have done. You can do hashtag K98 Talk. It's going to bring you right there. Baby, get over to that SoundCloud.com/ what is it, JD-Stacey. Go listen to our songs. Go do all sorts of stuff. We're going to talk about 2016 right now.
Wow.
And it's
big.
Well, that's how we know it's 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Uncle Bernie Sanders.
Oh, God. Yes, Bernie made quite a speech today.
Well, he basically was doing a joint event with Hillary Clinton and Ben and Jerry up in a place in Vermont.
In Burlington, I believe. Yep. Talked a lot about that whole income inequality thing, backed up by Ben Cohn and Jerry Greenfield, who, oh, by the way, if you didn't know, are worth about $150 million apiece.
That's why Bernie's new theme song for a little while on this show is going to be right here. This is Bernie. This is Bernie Sanders coming. He's your ice cream man, baby. Crazy Uncle Bernie. Oh, come on. Any excuse to play Diamond Dave, right?
Any excuse at all. But I mean, so you have Ben and Jerry standing there. First of all, I don't get Bernie Sanders at all. Okay?
Are you kidding me? He's the most honest person running for president.
I know, but he wants to he's okay. Literally has publicly said he's okay with a 90% tax rate. Okay? He comes from what is arguably one of the most libertarian states in the union. Vermont has some of the most permissive gun laws. Because of the way their education system was set up in the first place, they've got massive school choice. You've got a bunch of people up there who can grow their own stuff, make their own stuff. I mean, there's 15 people in Vermont? If the world ever just goes straight to heck, I want to go there. People know how to raise cows, milk cows, make butter, make dishes. I mean, I don't understand how such a libertarian group of people is voting for a socialist.
What do they have? A Chinese apple factory in the state of Vermont? They're churning out everything. Dishes, butter, cows. Jesus.
Have you ever been there?
I have. And as a matter of fact, this explains Vermont and the decisions in Bernie Sanders right here, okay? Right here. Because on top of all the great things you've enumerated, Vermont is one giant bong hit sometimes.
Well, I'm not saying they probably don't rival California in terms of the percentage of total pot production in the U.S., okay? But what I'm saying is there are people who come together as a community when somebody's in trouble because they can, not because they have to. But, I mean, he's a socialist.
Well, wait a minute. See, this and by the way, before this gets taken out of context, I am not a Bernie Sanders supporter. But I'm telling you, he's the most.
Are you sure?
I got to tell you. Yes, you want to know why, damn it? I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because every one of our idiots, whether it's Boehner or McConnell or the rest of the leadership or anybody else that I've had to put up with for the last 6 years, every one of them has been campaigning since they've been in office since 1906. I'm a conservative and I'm for smaller government and less taxes and smaller government and less taxes. And what happened? What happened within the last 6 years? They let the top marginal income tax rate go up to almost 40%. And that's before state and that's before local. You want to know something? At least Bernie Sanders comes out and goes, listen, I'm crazy and it's never going to happen. But he wants a 90% income tax rate and he says it. So I'm not supporting Bernie Sanders, but you want to know something? He's going to be more. I'll tell you what. I guarantee you that Bernie Sanders is more effective in the Democratic primary in getting his issues out in front and pulling the primary electorate further to the left than any of our conservative second and third tier candidates will be at pulling our guys to the right. Mark my words.
No, I don't disagree. He's definitely pandering the Warren vote, without a doubt. I mean, for the folks who believe, as I believe, that Lizzie Pocahontas isn't going to run,
steak dinner time?
You know, steak dinner's still there.
I think the medicine man in the background disagrees with you.
But,
I'm sorry.
You know, as far as the folks who are behind Elizabeth Warren and hate Wall Street and hate people who actually make things and do things, as our guest Evan likes to say, you know, that contingent is not comfortable with Hillary Clinton. But, I mean, I'm listening to Bernie Sanders today, and again, he starts talking about the Koch brothers. Can we just live in reality for just a minute? If you total up all the donations from the last 15 years, the Koch brothers in total end up 53rd on the list. Do you know whose charity ends up number 1?
George Soros.
Correct. I'm so sick of the Koch brothers myth. It drives me absolutely batty every time I hear it.
This goes back
they scare the heck out of the left. But, I mean, the unions are ahead of them. Microsoft is ahead of them. Act Blue is ahead of them. I mean, there's 52 agencies and private individuals on the list before you ever find a Koch brother.
But, Stacey, this goes back to what we were saying before. This goes back to the Republican Party being out-consulted and not knowing how to politic and not weaponizing their own fight. Because you want to know something? Very openly, extraordinarily openly, Sanders' advisors are going around saying that they think he can be viewed as a legitimate candidate if he raises $50 million ahead of the first-round primary contest in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. And before anybody out there dies of laughter, I want you to think about who Stacey said was the top giver and the top 50 before you started getting to the conservatives. It was George Soros, who has tentacles and funds and think tanks and money funneled in ways that would make Bill Clinton blush. And the reason that I say our guys have got to learn how to play this game because Bernie Sanders, in his announced speech, said, quote, "I don't do these fundraisers for $100,000 apiece or $10,000, unquote," said the Vermont senator, a self-described independent socialist. Skip down and his advisors are talking about the possibility and probability of raising $50 million. The Sanders goal of $50 million is still a big number. So I'm glad that's still a big number in D.C. Getting there will involve an unprecedented reliance on small dollar fundraising through the interwebs. Well, that's never happened before. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it did 6 years
Obama.
ago. I'm not saying Sanders is going to win the nomination, but what I'm saying is we allow a narrative to take hold that these people are just for the good of humanity, and everything they do is sainted and blessed from on high because they're the ones that are here to steward and save everything else, and it's nothing but a bunch of garbage. Because like I said, the guy's openly talking about a 90% tax rate. I called him the most honest man running for president, and he still is going to hide the fact that he needs $50 million that he thinks he can raise. And meanwhile, our idiots are out there threading needles, splitting babies, relitigating the Iraq War from 2003. And what did I say when I was a Milwaukee alderman back in 1972? For the love of God, learn how to play politics.
You keep banging them, and they're not getting any better at it.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to slap a bitch. That's it.
I think he definitely has set the rules for his campaign. It is not going to be a negative campaign. He's going to talk about the things that are important to him, which are income inequality, campaign finance, and climate change. Nothing about foreign policy, nothing about national defense, nothing. Okay, but what he did make a big stink, please excuse the pun, about today was the fact that we have 23 brands of aerosol deodorant and children are still hungry. So what I didn't understand about that whole line of thinking was how reducing the number of deodorants that are produced is going to make fewer children hungry. But I mean, he's kind of a little bit of a wacko, JD.
No, okay. You want to know what? I was waiting for that segue, okay? Because I want to paint everybody in the audience this picture. You just had a big to-do. Congratulations, second one out the door. Woohoo! Graduation, you had friends, you had family, you had your kids' friends and their and their friends and the
Ben
whole
and
nine.
Jerry.
Exactly, Ben and Jerry. You had a bong. There was ice cream in the bong. It was an ice cream bong. But everybody does, and my family more specifically because I love my family, but they're crazy. And every family has a really good crazy relative, right? So I want everybody right now to close your eyes. Everybody get in their mind's eye right now, and I want you to think, whether it's current time or 30 years ago when you were younger, I want you to think about your most ape crazy relative that would sit at a family dinner table in mixed company and just say insane things. You know, somebody be like, "Oh, Dolores, this roast is wonderful, and what a lovely holiday for the children. Do you know I used to run over midgets with a tractor when I was a you know?" Okay, You know what the difference between that family member and Bernie Sanders is? Bernie Sanders
One's a senator?
No. Bernie Sanders is going to raise $50 million on top of free media and have a platform to be crazy. And your average person is going to go, wait a second, this guy's got campaign commercials. He's on the TV. He can't be crazy. I'm telling you, don't short sell the effectiveness of idiocy. It's gotten me this far.
Well, you know, my mother just mentioned my craziest relative in the chat room. That was great.
Okay, so you have to tell her that chat rooms are not an inside voice. Now everybody knows. That's why I said to everybody, picture
now everybody
crazy
knows who my craziest relative is. Anyway,
is it you?
No, it's actually not me. Although maybe it's generational, maybe I can be next. But in all seriousness, yes, he's going to have a platform. Yes, I think he is going to drag the Democrats further left and Hillary further left. I mean, one of his big mantras today was the trade agreement. He is coming out 100% against it, same as Warren has, and Hillary's sitting there teeter-tottering. She's not exactly sure what to do. You know, I think the narrative is going to work with that contingent of voters. Now I'm kind of wondering who or what space Mr. O'Malley is going to fill, because I hear he's got an announcement coming on Saturday, I believe.
What a wonderful segue. O'Malley is going to announce Saturday, and for anybody who cares, and if you do, lose my phone number. George Pataki's announcing on Thursday.
Ugh.
Anybody in this audience who heard that and cares, don't ever talk to me again. Okay? Here's the George Pataki segment. But
okay, and for those of you who didn't know, George Pataki is the former governor of New York. JD, being a lifelong resident, has a few feelings about that.
George Pataki makes Alan Combs look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay? You think Alan Combs would have milk toast? George, there used to be a Republican Party in the state of New York. Basically, George Pataki came in. He was very nice. My sainted grandmother, who is now, since passed on, swore the man's name was Patakis. He sucked. He lost. Skelos went to jail. There's no Republican Party in New York. Now, Martin O'Malley. Anybody who is interested, I actually found a piece. I'm not sure if this is, I think that this is a liberal site. It's called the Fiscal Times. And it was today. The article is actually by a guy named Brian Snyder, who also writes for Reuters. Kind of went through O'Malley's bio, a few other things, but what really caught my attention, and this is coming from the left. They think that Martin O'Malley will be staking out ground to the left of Hillary Clinton. To me, I think he should run as a centrist, who they calling Hillary, who is generally a centrist Democrat, but to the right of Sanders, an avowed socialist who isn't even an actual member of the Democratic Party. Now, if you want to know who Martin O'Malley is, he came on the scene volunteering for the Gary Hart campaign in 82. He worked for Senator Barbara Mikulski's campaign in 86. He was Baltimore mayor. Now, then he became governor. This gets good. He is known and praised by liberals. Do you know what for? His work on reducing crime in the city of Baltimore. The man left office in 2014.
Well, you saw the news on Baltimore this week.
What, the Memorial
They've had
Day
more
Madness?
murders so far year to date than they have since 1999.
Well, listen, go hard or go home. If you're going to do something, do it right.
I mean, excuse me for using a really bad analogy, but, Baltimore is a flaming mess right now.
No.
Yeah. And
No.
Maryland itself.
Chris Rock still sums it up best, without a doubt.
Grand opening, grand closing.
That's Baltimore. A minute left. Tell us what this gives us with 2016.
A bigger circus than we already had.
That was tough.
But in reality, it actually gives Hillary some people to debate. We probably will have far too many people for a single debate. And I think there's several news outlets that are trying to solve that problem. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very, very unusual election cycle.
Oh, Selena Zito had it right. I think this is going to be one like nobody's ever seen before. We're going to come back up. We're going to tie up the show, talking a little Iranian show trials. Everybody right now, get to K98.com. Get in that chat room right now. Say hello to Stacey. See what's going on. Remember, find us here again live this coming Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another edition of Game On. And you know what that means? I don't know what that means. Stacey don't know what that means. You'll know what that means.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Welcome back to Game On here with JD and Stacey on K98 Talk, bringing you into the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Thank you, old listeners, new listeners, everybody in between. For the new K98 Talk family, you can find us here Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moisey for that Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, baby. Your cure for your mainstream media hangover. Make sure you get over to Spreaker.com or download the app. Go over to K98 Talk or to hashtag K98 Talk. Go find TCC Grouchy, the conservative curmudgeon's fantastic interview with Ambassador John Bolton. The man should run for emperor for life. And as always, get over to SoundCloud.com/JD-Stacey and check out them downloads of them Third Rail Ramblers, baby. One of the best conservative parody bands in the business. Is they not?
Absolutely. Love their parody songs.
Oh, yes, Micey. We use them because we got to stay ahead of that competition.
We use them because our audience loves them.
Oh, my God. Who doesn't, though? We're talking about that 2 cent a gallon out of Donovan, baby.
If you can't laugh, you'll cry.
Honestly, if you can't laugh, just go step in front of a bus while it's moving.
So who are we talking about now, JD?
I'm going to get his name wrong.
No, but it has to do with the people we actually went a whole show without discussing on Sunday. We were thrilled.
Durka, durka, durka.
Yes, and what do the...
Oh, durka, durka, durka.
What do they want, Scotzo?
Virgin.
Thank you, Scotzo. Yes. Do we have to pay Scotzo? The guy's been dead for 20 years, and I feel like he's a part of the show.
He is a part of the show. He's very important to the show.
Your royalty checks are coming because we have to talk about the Durkas. What competition? Yeah. I hear you, boss. Moisey.
I was looking for a 2-show win, and we just couldn't get there.
I'm going to tell you something. We're going to be in these mud hut, goat herding, ass rock wiping, backward 4th century. Yeah, for a while, and look.
Well, according to an article today, Obama and his erstwhile press secretary, joshing earnestly, clearly stated to the American public that actually the full pushback on ISIS cannot possibly happen until the next president's administration.
Of course. let me tell you something. Josh Earnest saying we're beating ISIS and I swear I'll pull out have got to be running neck and neck for the biggest lies of 2014.
Yeah, I mean, the article was so well worded and crafted, it almost sounded like it made sense until you realized it didn't. Basically, you had the new Secretary of Defense coming out and saying, oh, well, those guys in Ramadi just ran away, so they had to fix that, because that wasn't the right thing to say. It seems like Obama has a lot of problems with his defense secretaries running off the reservation. Was that racist?
No, only if you're Liz Warren. Let me tell you something. I don't think that he has a problem with his defense secretaries going off the reservation. I think he has a problem with defense secretaries. I think that this is a man who, on top of fundamentally wanting to transform the United States of America, honestly sees the United States military as a glorified GMO. Or some extension of the Peace Corps where the M16s would be put to better use if they were hanging and drying dirty laundry of those just misunderstood people in the third world. Am I advocating for 250,000 troops on the ground? No. Am I advocating for troops on the ground anywhere? No. No, I don't like war. And as a matter of fact, every morning when I get up, I go outside, I feed my unicorn, I walk on water, and I jump up to the sky and slide down a rainbow. And I'm thankful that we don't have war in this. Oh, wait a minute. You have to recognize your threats. I honestly think that this man is so ideological and political that he has such a long view of history and such an inflated sense of himself that I honestly think that for him to actually get the Middle East to the point that it's in, and for the blowback that this is going to visit back on us in 10 or 15 years from now for not having dealt with it, and when we have another 300,000 troops on the ground and we have to send another 10,000 flags to mothers who never should have had to send their kids out there in the first place, he's going to turn around and say, well, historically, if you look out of it, none of the, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to them, the end game and the ability, the disgrace that this man, did you see his comments on Memorial Day? Yeah. We're there to remember the fallen. It was a litany of how he hasn't had us in any troops on the ground wars in 2014.
Yep.
Don't you feel so?
Yeah, well, he gave up a round of golf to do that speech, JD.
The Secret Service is good. I'm not. You said round and him, and I just look. He doesn't. Anybody who thinks that the President of the United States, his administration, or any of the other hoople-headed minion idiots he's got around him is going to change one iota or give back 1 inch or take their foot off the gas and bring that back down 3 miles an hour is crazy. Is crazy. There's no incentive to.
They went to the commencement speeches at the Coast Guard Academy and the U.S. Naval Academy and told our cadets that climate change is the biggest threat they face. Weather.
This is what I find interesting. There is a gentleman by the name of Jason, I hope I'm saying this right, I think Rezian. He's an American-Iranian journalist currently employed at the Washington Post as the bureau chief in Iran. On July 22nd of 2014, Iranian authorities raided the Tehran residence of Rezan and his wife, took the couple into custody. His wife, who was also a journalist, was released on October 6. Rezan remains in custody at Evin Prison, a detention center in Tehran known for housing political prisoners and intellectuals. After 9 months of speculation, it was made public on April 20th, 2015, that Iranian authorities have indicted Rezan on 4 charges, including espionage and propaganda against the establishment. Why do I bring this up? Because there was a half a farce of a show trial that one of the things that I know scares this man, his family, and the Washington Post, who's done some phenomenal writing on this, is that they have a hanging judge over there, Bob number 463, whichever kind of Durka idiot this is. And they're doing this closed, circus of a show trial, and they stopped it in the whole nine. Why am I going on about this? Because I had wanted to make a point that for this deal with Iran, that John Kerry and Obama have basically gymnastically bent themselves over for and basically given away the store. I couldn't understand why during those negotiations they weren't bringing this up. They weren't bringing up the FBI agent who happened to disappear over there. And then I read this, and this is this is actually from the Washington Post today. During months of nuclear negotiations with Iran, the State Department has repeatedly raised the cases of Rezian and 2 Americans already convicted in Iran, former U.S. Marine Amir Hekmati and Pastor Saeed Abedini, as well as a missing former FBI agent, Bob Levinson. The 4 Americans have been mentioned on the sidelines of the talks. However, it does not appear that their release would be a condition for a nuclear deal with Iran. You're giving the Iranians everything they want to begin with. How is this a no-brainer precondition to start those negotiations?
The Obama administration has actually repeatedly said this will not be about anything. It's not about Iran recognizing Israel as a state. It's not about getting American citizens who are hostages, political prisoners at this point, over their release. It's not about any of that, and they refuse to bring those topics up as contingent upon the negotiations. They are so desperate for a deal and so focused on the fact that this, groundbreaking thing that's going to put the Middle East into a complete arms race, if current press is to be believed, they're so focused on getting this little nugget out there that they're putting all of that to the side, and they've been very explicit about it. They will not bring that situation into the negotiations with the Iranians.
But they weren't negotiations. Listen, you had an Iranian translator, okay, who was the top negotiator in the deal, defected near the end of these nonsensical talks. And he was saying these aren't negotiations. They're saying the only negotiations going on is John Kerry and the administration twisting the arms of our European allies to agree to this garbage. So there's no negotiation. So to my mind, is this man so afraid at the appearance of I don't understand. I don't know whether he is so afraid at the appearance of this country exercising military power, or unless he really doesn't care and his social justice warrior mentality of the world mandates that he must dial back the ability this country has. And I don't even know.
But if you go back to the moral relativism, right, that Evan Sayet has talked about and we've all talked about that goes on in the press, nothing is really any more wrong than anything else. It's just a different worldview. So if you take that very progressive liberal mindset, you're just looking at Iran as folks who see things differently than we do. It's not any better or any worse. And if you look at all of the press and all of the discussion around ISIS and around some of the really nasty players in the Middle East and around Iran, there is no judgment on the way they behave by this administration.
No. But look, I don't think so much that they bent over to give the store away just so that they could get a deal. I think that this was half thought about going in. You have got to look, and again, I'm not advocating a large scale invasion back into the Middle East, but it's not just the nuclear deal. We are ceding hegemony we've had in that region of the world for the past 40 or 50 years. Now, you can argue whether or not that's a good thing, but look. Until the world runs on unicorn farts and rainbow dew, petroleum and fossil-based fuels are what runs the world and runs this economy. And feckless and bad as in the toilet as it is, it's still the largest and strongest economy on the face of the earth. We're getting to a point where the inmates are running the asylum, and you're starting to hear what are basically environmentalist-type prescriptions for the economy. It doesn't work that way. And you want to know what? Whether it was the Marine Andrew Tamarisi who festered away down in that jail cell in Mexico until they sprung him, or whether it's the Washington Post journalist, or whether it's the missing FBI agent, or whether it's anybody else in this country. Anybody right now who's living in this country and wants to know what your government thinks about you, your citizenship and your life's worth abroad is very much as a Roman citizen at the decline and the end of the Roman Empire, when citizenship didn't mean much. I'm old enough to remember, and I'm a young man, of being in this country when it was like the original Roman days, when being a U.S. citizen, no matter who was president, really mattered. And you want to know something? It just doesn't anymore. But that's why you and I are here. Ain't that right, baby?
I guess so. But, I mean, it's just watching what happened to Tamarisi and watching what is happening to those 4 gentlemen over in Iran. You think about what happened, and you remember it, within hours of Reagan winning the election, what happened?
Well, the hostages got released.
The hostages got released. Why? Because he'd have done something about it. And they know right now nobody's going to do anything about it.
Nope, and I think that is the best place to leave it. That was a very, very quick hour. Everybody out there, thanks for joining us today here on Game On. JD and Stacey here on K98. Join us again Thursday night, 9 p.m., where I think a little sneak peek is going to be a little Clinton shenanigans. Ain't that right?
A little Clinton shenanigans. They're doing it again.
You got those keys, lady?
I do. Let's get it on up out of here.
Good. Why don't you tell the nice people what you're doing this week, or where you're going to
be? The actual graduation ceremony, and I'm off to a beer festival this weekend, so I'm looking forward for a lot of fun.
Fantastic. I never graduated in my entire life as a beer festival. Check me out at Game On JD on the Twitters, and of course, everybody, before Thursday in assorted bar stools, alleyways, houses of ill repute, and places I just shouldn't be. I'll see everybody on Thursday.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.